Welcome back to Launch Your Light. I'm here today to give you guys a behind the scenes of a book update. So, I have been working with my editor and book coach pretty much monthly on this basis as the project is getting closer. We do have a deadline set, and I'm not telling you the date because it's magical and I don't want to jinx it and I don't want to mess myself up with this, but I do have a deadline in sights for this year. I'll just say fall. Okay, it's a fall deadline. I'm recording this in the middle of June, right before the solstice. And so many people are asking me questions about the book and what this has been like and what this process has been like and how it's going with my editor that it's just easier for me to put it here and put it on the podcast and share it with everyone. So let me just give you a quick update. I'm sure some of you have listened to this is not the first podcast I've talked about the book, but just a quick synopsis is that I started writing this book in 2023, in the spring of 2023. So it's been over 3 years now. And I started it as an experience with a live group. And I charged for people to be in that group. So it was a paid experience. And I was paid essentially $5,000 to write the first draft of that book. So I had a live audience, I had them paying me, and I had to show up and deliver a new chapter to them every few weeks. So I did that from spring to Halloween, basically, like almost 6 months. And it was so great. And we'd get together and gather as the group every time I launched a chapter. So that was just a miraculous experience. And if you want to learn how to do that, a few episodes back on this podcast, I explained to you how I did that. But let me keep going. From there, the next phase after I had to put it down and not look at it for a while was to go back and kind of like do an edit, just like run through and edit the whole thing because I also made a colorful guidebook alongside it. So it wasn't just me writing this on Word doc, it was me making a colorful Canva PDF that goes along with it so you could just read there. And that was really helpful for people with like ADHD, people who couldn't focus, because there was color block, there was a lot of design going, and it was all broken up and separated so your eyes could just flow and read it. So I think I edited all that, and or I think maybe my next edit was to run the whole thing through Grammarly. I have Grammarly. And I think I just maybe ran it through that first one when I edited it was just like the Grammarly regular. And then that next spring I upgraded to Grammarly Premium and was like, oh my God, this thing's a mess. So then I spent months doing those edits. So that was also helping me edit the manuscript that I had going on in Google Drive. And then it also helped me edit the colorful guidebook because on the side, I had a lead magnet and an opt-in for here's my colorful guidebook, launch your light, it's free, sign up. And that helped grow my list. So that was helping me grow my list a little bit. I had no ads to it. I wasn't pushing it. I didn't have it in my email all the time. I just had it available. So I kept just basically doing these edits. And every year, the project, I would put it down and then the project would call me back. And I want to emphasize that right now because a lot of people experience this and a lot of people feel this. You have these big projects, and not all of us are going to get them all fully done. When I hear about the people who get these projects all fully done really quick, it's like, they're like, I fasted for a month and then went to Bali and wrote for a month, for a week, and it was done. I'm like, wow, that sounds amazing. Not in my world. Like, I don't have the ability to go rent something and live in Bali. Like, I run two businesses. We've got two toddlers. Like, I'm not going off on a writing retreat. If you can, go do the writing retreat. If you've got availability in your world right now, go do that. But I didn't. So I would put these projects down and I would pick them back up. And that's how I've been able to stay with them. And I would be soul called to this project. It kept calling me. And I kept answering. And there were months, like full on half years, sometimes even maybe 8 months at a time. I wouldn't look at this project. I didn't want to look at it. I didn't want to open it. But then I'd be called to it and I'd open back up. So then let's fast forward to then we moved into this house. And that was in fall of 2025. And I really felt it kick on. I was like, I got settled in here and I was like, okay, house, like, what's the first thing we're going through? I had a few other ideas in my head for what I was going to do for like engagement and offers. And the book came out again, and I was like, wow, okay, like this is the house I'm going to get these books out in. And it was like to help get my word out, make impact on the planet, grow my audience, right? This was actually the way to do it. So I picked it back up. So then as I was rereading through, I was like, oh man, I have to kind of rewrite this entire thing. So I took what I had and started to rewrite. This is when I kind of brought AI into it. So I already had 55,000 words, and I took that, and AI really helped me in this sense. I was dictating my story to it, and it was helping to write and organize those stories for me that I was going to kick off the chapters with, and then make sure the story was cohesive with what I was putting in there. So I did that. That took me months to like get my vulnerable story out, dictate it, figure out how I wanted to write it, how I wanted to position it, right? So then I ended up with 123,000 word fourth draft manuscript. Like it was absolutely just monstrous. That's what I submitted to my editor. So I took on a small publishing house. She's a book coach. She's an editor. Jessie at Big Time Publishing. Thank you so much. I would be lost without her in this process. Gave it to her, let her sit with it for a little bit, and then we met. So I basically just kind of like zoomed you through chronologically what I've been doing with this project, from group experience to colorful ebook to 123 page, 55,000 word, 123,000 words in Google manuscripts. Like, oh my God. So I sent it to her, and then she got to really help me, right? So what I've been doing with her since, in what we started having our session, I think it was like the middle of March when we really started working together. So that's when we really got to look at what I'm working with. And she's like, you've got four books in one, girl. So what we had to do was, she gave me amazing work to do. It was like she helped me realize that my book was in there and we needed to call it forth. She also was so helpful in showcasing to me that this book is so powerful. It needed to be in a phase one, phase two, phase three. It couldn't just flow from chapter one, two, three, four. Like there were phases. So that was part of my homework from her that first round, was to go figure out like, what are the phases? What are the moments, the movements of this book that I can start pulling out? What was the other thing? So we did and then also like she helped me realize, like, pull out all the activities and see what I'm trying to have people do. She also helped me realize my story was so big that that needed to be on the front end of the book, and not paced out throughout the book, leaving people either with questions or me dropping off stories or talking about things that happened before I brought them up. You know what I mean? So she helped me so much. Like her reading that, and that was so scary to hand over that fourth draft manuscript because I'd worked on it for like 3 years at that point. And I'm like, I need help. This is just going to be crazy if I try to self-publish this by myself. Um, it was so, like, I got off that call and I was like, I could have cried, like just with being seen, with clarity, with support, with the advice I needed. Like I can't see it anymore. Like I'm the creator of it. I need someone else. This is why the power of coaching is so helpful. I need someone else who could see it in a different way, help me walk through it. So I took that advice and ran with it. Basically, I needed to sort out my story and go very vulnerably telling stories that were some of my most shameful stories. And that's what I'm going to kick the book off with, that this was actually a way bigger project and I need to figure out the phases. And yeah, so basically that was that call. That was in March. That took me 2 months. I think for the first few weeks, I was like, I can't even, I'm just gonna assimilate this information. I'm just gonna like integrate what she's told me here. Um, and then I was like, okay, like again, the book called me back. I was like, okay, I'm going to start it again. So what I started doing for homework wise was to go through, pull out all the exercises, see that, and then really see. I spent the last few months pulling out the topics and the themes of the book that I wanted to come into this new, we're calling it the new first draft, LOL. Because going through it and reading it after the lens of talking to her, I cut out 4 chapters immediately. That was like 30,000 words. Like, cut it out. By like, they can be blog posts, they can be courses, they can be mini ebooks, but they don't need to be in this book. So this whole, like, working with the editor really helped me get clear on like, what am I trying to say? What is the point of this book? Who is it for again? I mean, I'm back to the avatar of the reader. Like, this is shit I thought I knew. I did like months ago for I thought I had a subtitle. I'm like, no, that's not the subtitle anymore. Like, so what I just want to say to anyone listening now is that the project, the creation is giving you signals. It's talking to you. You know, I talk about connect to the spirit of your business, connect to the spirit of your idea. Your ideas have their own blueprint, they have their own energy, and they're coming to you because there's a vibrational match there. It's the same thing with the book, right? So the book is speaking to me and working with me and using divine intervention and moments and divine detours and insight and to like make sure I'm still on track with fulfilling the destiny of this book, with fulfilling my soul contract, with getting this book out to the thousands of people who are going to read it around the world. I'm going with a distributor and a publishing platform that has like 450,000 distributors around the world. So like I'm going there, and this is why I'm taking so much time. You might be like, "Wow, it's taking you forever to do this." I'm like, "Well, first of all, have you ever talked to someone who's written a book? This shit takes time." Listen, I also want to say there are so many amazing technologies and tools that people are using to like get their book out in a weekend, and I love that, but that's just not my path, and that's not my journey, at least not with this book. At least not with this first publication, right? So I'm just sharing with you my journey. You can go listen to other podcasts and other YouTubes with people talking about that. Okay. So another thing, let me see, actually, I got my notes. Oh, okay. Divine detours. That's what I want to say. Not even divine detours, but that's in the book. Divine insight. It was in a shower where I made a fucking connection the other day. It was like a couple weeks ago. So I got to the point where I was just sitting with it. Took me a while to sit with it, just really, it's like, what are my three phases of this book and really looking at it? So it took me a while to sit with it and just let it be uncovered. And I got to this phase one of this book, like part one of the book is the initiation, right? It is the initiation of your awakening, your spiritual awakening, aligning with your soul purpose, and going through that entire journey. Okay. A lot of people just write books on that. Okay. I'm going farther now. I'm going to now phase two, step two, part two is to embody that. It's the embodiment phase of aligning with your light and becoming it and integrating it. Phase three is the impact. So the impact is actually becoming someone you've aligned with your light, you've connected with your light, right? Now you're fully embodying your light. And now we're going to start impacting the world around us with your light, right? So like I realized that came to like a realization. I was like, I sat with it that took weeks to get to. And then I was in the shower and I was like, oh my God. My old slogan from 2012 to 2021 used to be find your light, share your gifts, change the world. I damn near fell out of the fucking shower. I was like, this is it. This is it. This is it. Part one, the initiation, find your light. Part two, the embodiment, share your gifts. Part three, the impact, change the world, right? So now, after I landed on that, I was like, oh my God, okay, like the book is forming now. So another big project of mine was to go through every topic, pull every single topic of what was coming out and put it into the sections that they now will live and belong in. This has taken me weeks. Like I had a session with her a month ago. I just had one today. So I did all of that work, pulling out all the exercises, organizing every single topic I had in the original big manuscript I gave her, reorganizing it all and building out a new first draft manuscript, and then reorganizing where I think everything should go. The last thing I got to do this weekend before I had a session with her was sit down and really get clear about my story arc. And we're trying to figure out exactly how we're going to format still. And what I'm going to do, which is kind of brazen, let's say, or it's going to be challenging for me to do, is to use my story arc to bring people through their own initiation. So traditionally, you may have like like a whole full chapter dedicated to someone's story so that they can go into each of the, go into the chapters, go into the thing. However, my story is so big and so impactful. And we went through, there's like 6 different sections of my story from my awakening till now, that what I've been doing like a mad scientist is stringing up all of my process and reordering my process through my story arc to guide people through the initiation of their soul purpose. Like, So what I have to do moving forward now is start playing with that, start getting that out, really pulling out and organizing that, right? See if that works. See if that's going to make sense. Because what we're running into, if you're like, why wouldn't you do it the other way with the chapter way, is that the story's so big, I would need a whole big ass long chapter to talk about just my story and then pick up on the step, da 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 da, da, right? Those two could end up being really long. And I don't know if everyone would stay through my story, right? So I'm trying this. I'm trying this. Other authors have pulled this off very seamlessly and beautifully. Editors held in different publishing houses have their own templates and platforms and stuff like that, that they help you with that. So this is where I'm at. Now I've finished organizing a lot today. Now I have to start kind of playing with really writing in my story and then organizing the entire process and formula that I bring people with through in my systems, but also like what I went through. Whew. And this is where it gets really vulnerable too, is to go back into all my stories and tell the most vulnerable story, tell the scariest stuff, and walk people through it. I'm also getting really clear again about my tone and tonality of this, how I am a direct teacher, but I'm also really funny. And I take very advanced concepts and break them down into basic, tangible things that people can digest. And I've got to keep that, like, that's my teaching style. I've got to keep this teaching style in the book. You know what I mean? She laughs because she knows I'm a copywriter. So I've been writing sales pages for a decade, right? And she keeps telling me like so much of the writing style is that. She's like, you don't need to sell them on the book anymore. They bought the book, like they have the book. So what I'm learning, it's like really hard to go from short form sales page writing to long form and being in a space of like, here, this is it. Like this is it, this is what I'm teaching you. This is why it's needed, and here's how to do it, right? So it's hard. It's been hard to shift that, but it really helps me cut out a lot of fluff, right? Because I'm not writing a sales page. I'm writing a book. And this is where I'm giving you the details of this because I am known for this, letting people see the back end of our businesses, letting people see the challenging sides that no one wants to talk about, and everyone makes it look like perfect on Instagram. I'm like, no, this is hard. This has been like a hard process. I just made a reel today that was like, I thought and I knew and I teach that the entrepreneur path is an advanced healing journey. Well, now I'm writing a book and it's like cathartic to go through this, but also frightening, right? To be putting yourself out there so vulnerably. You'll know as soon as you open up my chapter, the first chapter of what I'm talking about when it comes to storytelling. But she also made a really good point, is that I'm actually not trying to be relatable in my business in this book. I'm not trying to be relatable. I think a lot of content is like, be relatable, but actually I'm setting myself aside. Like I'm setting myself apart from everyone and showing people that my unique way of going through this and what I went through is actually can be very helpful to someone's story. And what's interesting is some of the teachers I have, they have the most insane stories, and it's like not really like one of my teachers, one of my favorite teachers, like survived a cult, like a child cult thing in like the 80s and 90s, like survived that and is now a business coach. Fascinating story. Fascinating. She had me hooked on that story. And I joined up and signed up for all her stuff, right? So mine is probably going to be like, I'm like kicking off chapter one. Like most people don't have their awakening in blah, 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 but I did. And they'll be hooked from that story right from the beginning. They're going to go, holy shit, how did this girl go from that situation to like writing this book and where she's at now, right? After reading the back of the cover or reading a little bit about the book and a snippet here and there, right? So and most people aren't going to go, that was my awakening story too. But then it's going to trigger their own awakening story, whether they've had it already or if they're going to have it, right? If they're there and having it now. And this is a manual for people's spiritual awakening and aligning with their soul purpose. Like that's what this book is for. And we're walking into the largest awakening we've seen on the planet ever. right? So the timing is perfect. This book is perfect. Me spending 3 years on it, 3 years plus is perfect. I am so proud of myself, and I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep working on the next project and the next project and the next project. We have a deadline. It is crazy to do. I wanted to talk today on today's call with her about the deadline because I was like, let's reverse engineer and backtrack this on what if this is then, what would I need to have by then? And then what do we need to have by when? And then what do we need? And like, oh, okay, well, I should have the majority of this written by the end of the summer, for fuck's sake. Okay. So here I am. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep talking about it. I'm going to keep showcasing and sharing. I am publishing this book. I've already written books, so I'm an author baby, but now I'm going to publish this book. All right. I hope this was fun. Keep going with your projects. P.S. If you've got a big project or little projects or a ridiculous to-do list that will not leave you alone, summer school starts next week under the summer solstice. We already have a bunch of women in there. The whole school's coming. Women from the outside of the school have come in. We're all flowing together all summer long. On Mondays, 1 p.m. to about 3 p.m. We check in, we say what we're accounting for, what we need accountability for at the beginning, and when everyone's done round robin, we go into co-working together and do the damn thing. So you're not learning anything, we're not going through a new process, you're not training in anything, it's not a certification, nothing. It's not a class, it's not a course. We're getting together and doing the damn thing. As a bonus, you get access to our Friday strategy and support calls, and you get access to our chat. So it's a great way for you to check out the community, check out the school. You do not get any access to any course or any library with 250 supporting videos, no 20 courses, none of that. You just get Mondays and Fridays and the messenger group. It's only $111. And yes, there is a payment plan for those that want to spread it out over a few months. There is information, if you're listening to this on the podcast, there is information in the link below to get involved in that. All right. So much love to you all. Thank you for listening to a good Jayme ramble. I know it's helpful for people to just hear how people are doing things behind the scenes. And I'm not gatekeeping this from you. I'm just letting you know this is the process. If this inspires you or helps anyone, I have done my job. So much love. Until next episode. See you soon. Bye.